If you ask me, in my 20 years journey, I have had several occasions and several chances to meet a variety of personalities. And I was very fortunate that a lot of these personalities were hired by me when they were very young. And I remember, in terms of difficulty, if I have to mention, I think they perhaps were not handled by anybody before that, to the extent of what all I have to go through to make these individuals understand me and to make them inspired to do things that I wanted them to do for themselves and the organization that they were working for. And I realized that there are very common factors amongst the people that we work with generally, why they become difficult to handle and manage. And they all have very common symptoms. So I think we need to first understand these two scenarios. What are the symptoms? And when I say two scenarios, there are two scenarios of. Scenario one is someone who has come from a very pampered background, has got everything that he or she wanted, and has nothing left to prove. So for him or her right now, the work experience that he or she is into is not about proving himself or herself. He or she believes in what they do, and they think that they are doing the best job that possibly on earth any individual in their capacity can do. The second scenario is an individual, he or she, who comes from a very tough background. In the childhood, whatever they desired wasn't given to them. They lived through poverty, or they lived through challenges in their life. And they, because of a lot of people trying to take advantages of them, a lot of people cheating them, a lot of people taking advantage of them at wrong scenarios and wrong situations in their life, force them to lose trust on people in general. And the relationship with the superior is always a tricky one, right? So on one hand, you have people who don't have desire or goal or objective clarity in their head, and that's why they are being difficult. Because when you explain to them what you want them to do, they don't understand because they don't relate to it. On the other hand, you have a scenario of an individual who might have a clarity of the goals, but because they don't trust you, because they see you with the same lens with which they have seen the people who have cheated them, and for them, you are just the same kind of character and same kind of individual, and because there is lack of trust, they don't listen and they don't follow what you are trying to tell them to do. Now, in these two scenarios, the styles have to be very different. But there are some common approaches I've always used. And I was fortunate that I got certified as a coach very early on in my life. So I started dealing a lot with personality. Now, obviously, with coaching certifications and assessment experiences, certain things become easier for coaches. But I perhaps will try to give some tips to the audience in terms of how to handle such people. One of the things I realized is that in any scenario, the best place to discuss difficult conversations, and guiding or coaching or mentoring conversations are difficult when held in a private office space, because the guards are always up of the individuals you call in your own private cabin for being coached or guided or mentored. So the best place for having such difficult conversations is outside the office, number one. Number two, these difficult conversations ideally should happen over a lunch table or a dinner table, because that's when the individual already knows that we are in a different kind of setting. His or her guards are not up, and they are willingly open to discuss stuff. And normally when I approach such scenarios, my stance is very clear. I always tell the people, and I try to reassure them, that I have the best of interest of them at my heart. And I try to give them instances of how I've handled a person like them before, who was very similar in the same kind of scenario, same kind of personality, and how I helped him or her, and what they are doing today and how they have grown in their lives. Now, chances are with this, some positive interaction can start. Now, the chances are also that even with this, positive interactions cannot start. Now, in that case, you have to try and delve deeper into the psyche of this individual and try and understand why is he or she thinking, acting and doing things the way he or she is doing. But I think at the end of the day, I would just like to summarize by saying that all difficult subordinates are looking for one common thing. They're looking for a purpose. And I think it is very important for us to give them their purpose, because I believe purpose drives performance. And unfortunately, we keep complaining of difficult subordinates without trying to find out what is the purpose that we can attach them to. The moment you attach a team member to a purpose, you have no idea how much magic can happen post then. And I did the same thing with both these individuals. I attached and several hundreds of people who have mentored and coached in my life later on and who perhaps were difficult subordinates. It is the same commonality of giving them a purpose that really delivers results. And that's how you convert something that you so call a difficult subordinate to a contributing team member.